evening, and welcome to Night Callers Bigfoot Radio. You're here with your hosts, Lauren Smith and Dustin Clark. It is November 6th, and it's 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, but with daylight savings time, that don't mean nothing. How you doing, Dustin?
I'm trying to get used to the daylight savings time, and I'm exhausted.
Yeah, same. I'm exhausted, so it's the busiest time of year at work right now for us, so I'm coming in early and staying late every day. So that's already, kind of kicking my butt, and then daylight savings time, and then, of course, children don't quite understand the concept of, like, oh, no, the time has changed. You go to bed this time and you get up this time, so it's been a struggle this week for sure.
Not to brag, but mine has actually been sleeping longer and through the night since Saturday.
Wow. Yeah. You could have kept that to yourself. It would have been fine, actually. So, thanks for that. No, my kids. Yeah, no. The first day after daylight savings, like they got up at 5 in the morning, and they came in there. And they just kind of both looked like, they just kind of looked at me like, what the crap is going on right now? What is this? Why are you awake? I mean, it was just like messed with all of us. But, oh well, they'll be all right. Just means you get to go squatching earlier in the day, right?
Yep, that is for sure. But if you stay up too late squatching, you're just going to sleep in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, anything interesting going on in your world?
Not today. We will be heading out the day after tomorrow on Friday, and we will be hitting the woods for the weekend, finally.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Yeah,
honestly, I need to be out in the outside ASAP.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to the same place that 2 years ago around this time that one of our guys in Southern Bigfoot Alliance got a really awesome recording of this, hopefully, Bigfoot howling almost all night long. So we're hoping to get down there and be nice and quiet, and then hopefully they'll be talkative this weekend. Mm-hmm. So hopefully by next week I'll have some more stories to tell.
Yeah, you and me both. Hopefully we can come back next week and just have a recap from the weekend and, kind of let you guys know what all's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So we're hoping for a good weekend. Plus the weather's going to be perfect, so can't ask for much more.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to be out in the woods. I'm ready to go do all the things. All right. Well, if you're ready, we can go ahead and bring Danny on.
All right.
All
go
right.
ahead and introduce him.
Okay. All right. So tonight we have Danny Rorabaugh from Oklahoma. Danny researches not only Bigfoot but the paranormal. He frequently ghost hunts with a paranormal team called OutKast Paranormal. So we have a really good show for you guys tonight. We are really looking forward to, covering all the things. So, Danny, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, how did you get into both topics? But what got you into Bigfoot first?
Kind of what got me into Bigfooting was, I think a lot of people were the same way. Of course, mine came a lot later. I did not know a whole lot about the Patterson-Gimlin. I knew about Bigfoot, never really paid any attention to it. I was really into the paranormal, and we actually went down camping. I don't know if you guys are familiar with down in southeast Oklahoma. There's a place called Cedar Lake.
Mhm.
And
been there?
we went down there. We go down there and go camping all the time. Well, I happened to be down there one night. I was walking. I had been walking around because you can walk all the way around the lake, and I was having fairly good luck fishing with for crappie, and it got dark on me, so I started walking back and started hearing this, like, it was a deep roar howl type sound, you know, and I was like, I had no idea what it was, but I knew that whatever it was big. It was, and it didn't really dawn on me until I got back to my home, and it just so happened it was like 2 and 2 kind of fell together. I got home, and somebody sent me this YouTube video of the Ohio Bigfoot house. And I was like, holy crap, that sounds a lot like what I heard at Cedar Lake. And I started clicking around on Bigfoot stuff, and I saw the Patterson-Gimlin film. Of course, it was the M.K. Davis cleaned-up version, or one of them. But I realized real quick, I was like, man, I got to get into this. This is a new opportunity for me to do some research, some investigating to see for myself. And I started doing a little exploring around here in Oklahoma, close to Oklahoma City, and found a couple of spots. And in 2015, I happened to be at a local lake here around Oklahoma City, and they had actually it was out by Dustin's house, kind of, I guess, but yeah. I had heard all these people. I had several people tell me about spots out there at the lake, so they circled them on a map for me. And so I park my truck and I start walking, and I walk a long way, and I end up way inside by the lake, and I encounter a man and a woman fishing in a boat. And they asked me if I was lost. I told them no. I said, I'm not lost. I'm out here just looking around, and basically told them, you wouldn't believe me anyway. And I told them that I was Bigfoot, looking for signs or something of Bigfoot. I'm not really sure what I'm looking for. I'm kind of new to it, whatever, And the lady was like, oh, my Lord, should we tell him? And I'm like, tell me what? And they finally got enough courage. He trolling motored the boat as close as he could to shore, and he told me that they were fishing one time during the winter time. It was like they were pre-fishing for a tournament, he was, and she was just with him, I think. And they came around they came out of a bend, and there was he said, I'm telling you, as the good Lord is my witness, he said that I saw a baby Bigfoot, and it was swinging in the trees, and Mom snatched him up when she saw us in the boat. She snatched him up and took off running, and he said, and his exact words were, it sounded like a tank running through the trees, and he said it was like the trees didn't even matter, it's just running right over him. And I was like, really? And of course, I'm thinking, I'm new to it. I'm thinking, I don't know if I believe, but the woman was kind of shaking, and so I knew that there was probably some. I knew that they had seen something, but I had gone back out a few times, and I've had tree knocks, I've had on thermal, I've had eye shine. I'm not sure for sure, but I'm pretty sure that at least one time I saw one playing peekaboo around a tree. But I can't be positive because it was quite a ways off, and my thermal's not the greatest thermal in the world. So, but then in 2017, I had my first real, what I consider probably my first real encounter, and with a better thermal, I actually caught what I consider what looks like a really big boy walking away from us. course, we'd been having all kinds of stuff, rocks thrown at us, branches thrown at us. Even heard whistling, which was I thought was there was only 3 people with me, and I thought one of them was whistling, but they were standing right next to me. So, and then I heard that this was actually we were at the Honavi Bigfoot conference back in 2017, and where I was camping, we had been given access to a logging area, and so we drove probably 5 or 6 miles up this logging road, and we stopped and got out, and we walked probably a mile or so inside this thing. And all of a sudden, things just got crazy for about 15, 20 minutes, and then I caught it on video, which after the show, I've got a little GIF I made of it, and I'll post it in the comments for everybody to see. They can make what they want out of it, give me their feedback. But that's about the gist of it. I've been out with quite a few people with different group, MABRC, which I'm a member of, and and I met Bill, that's with Southern Bigfoot Alliance, and I have become somewhat friends with him, and then he introduced me to you, and man, I can't wait to go out with you guys big time.
Yeah, Bill's a pretty good old guy. He's got a lot of stories, and he's a fun guy. He cracks me up. Yeah, he's probably listening to this right now, but he's up in Indiana, so he can't get me from there. Is that all the stuff you have experiences with Bigfoot?
No, I mean I've been out. We've been to Brown Springs. I went with quite a few guys from the MABRC area, or the MABRC guys. Like Jim Whitehead, and then I met. It's kind of a funny story. We were down in Brown Springs, and we didn't have much Bigfoot activity down there, but you guys know Michael Waldy, right?
Yeah, we know.
All right, well, Michael Waldy, we're sitting down there. There's about 10 or 11 of us down there camping, and all of a sudden, this white pickup pulls up, and he said, "You guys know if I can put my he had like a, I started to say canoe, but it wasn't a canoe. It's a what do they call them? Kayak. Yeah, he had like a really long freaking kayak. Anyway, he said, "Do y'all know where I can put my kayak in?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. This is like, I don't know, March or April." And it's like after we had all those biblical, we had got all that rain. And I was like, "Dude, you could probably put in right here. I don't know." I was just joking around. He said, "Why in the," he goes, in his exact words, he goes, "Why are you all camped over here?" And was like, "I don't know, it was just a dry place to camp." And he goes, "Y'all wouldn't be doing Bigfoot or something, would you?" And I was like, "Maybe." And that's how we met Michael Waldy that day. I didn't know him, and he ended up. He goes, "Well, can I just camp with you guys?" And I was like, "Come on." So, yeah, me and Michael, we ended up hanging out with Todd Jurassic and a few other guys. We went. I called in a whole bunch of barred owls. I was waiting to hear. Maybe like a 600-pound owl call at us or something. But that particular night, that we was there for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, And all those days we were there, Larry Parks, there was a few other guys there. Anyway, this black Chevy pickup kept driving around, and then right behind where we were camping was a little road that was kind of like a marsh, and because the Red River is right behind that. But you'd hear them get off in the marsh, and they'd go out four-wheel driving, and then they would exit out way down at the other end, and they just kept going around and around all day and all night. They never stopped. And the last day we were there, we saw him coming out, and he was pulling a RV from back behind there. And we had smelled something one night, and I think they were cooking illegal drugs back there, and that's why they were circling. And so they kind of ruined our Bigfoot moment, but it was probably one of the most weird Bigfoot trips I've ever been on.
Well, being down there where Brown Springs is, I wouldn't be surprised being in that area.
Oh yeah.
But...
Yeah, we there was spots where we found we did cast a track down there, but we found like burnout, like cars that were back in places where they couldn't even drive, but somehow they ended up back there and they were burnt to the ground. I've heard stories about killings and stuff that are down there, murders, stuff like that.
Yeah. You went down this April, right?
Yeah, it was somewhere right in there. I mean, it was still chilly.
But
a little bit.
We actually went down there for a hog hunt, but it was last year sometime, and there was a burnt out Ford Ranger like within 100 yards of the river.
That's it.
And
that's the same one. That's the truck we're talking about.
Couldn't figure out how. I mean, it probably washed downstream or something in the flood, because I don't see that truck getting to where it was.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was like, how in the heck did this truck get here? And it looks burnt. But no, I mean, I've been quite a few places Bigfooting, but I haven't had a tremendous amount of luck. But I usually go by myself, and I'm trying to find people. I get a little nervous sometimes going by myself. I've had a few encounters that were not Bigfoot related. One, like I've had an encounter where I'm pretty sure that I was being tracked by a mountain lion down southeast Oklahoma.
Ooh.
I was by myself, no weapon, no nothing, and I was panicking a little bit. So now I go strapped sometimes. It depends on where I'm going. If I'm around here, I don't really worry about it. But if I go down there, you got to worry about mountain lion, bear.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hogs.
Yeah, hog will definitely ruin your day.
I'm more worried about hogs because they'll about eat you alive. Everything else will end you pretty quick, but not nasty hogs.
So, yeah, you get a big hog that's got some tusks on him, man. He'll carry you up. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, how'd you get into the paranormal and the paranormal investigating?
Well, the paranormal, basically, it started when my mom passed years ago. I was, at the time, I was just me and my dad living in his house after my mom passed, and just weird things started happening in the house, and like me and my dad would be sitting there watching TV, and the TV would just shut off, and this is back in the day when the TV we had, you actually had to actually get up and flip the channel. So there wasn't no remote control. I was the remote control. Hey, Danny, can you get up and flip that channel for me? but it would just turn on and off by itself. Sometimes the channels would flip, and you could hear the knob moving, and it freaked me out a little bit. I didn't know nothing about it. We'd hear like the washer and dryer start up in the middle of the night, stuff like that. And my dad finally one night just said, basically told Mom, said, we don't, I love you and all that stuff, but I really don't want you doing this anymore. It kind of freaks me out, and I wish you'd just go on, go to heaven, wherever, and then it just quit. But it really piqued my interest. And so me and my best friend, we decided that we were going to try this stuff, and I started, of course, I'd watched some of these ghost shows and stuff that would come on during Halloween. So we actually got, like I said, this is back in the day, so I had an old tape recorder and we would take tape recorders with us, and we actually got, the first couple of times we didn't, but we'd go to these houses and we would use a tape recorder and ask questions, and then we'd play it back, and then one day a voice showed up on this tape that wasn't us. And I was like, we just kind of, me and him both freaked out, and, we got hooked from that point on. And as technology got better, we kept buying better equipment, and the one that really got us hooked was there was a house that I know, it was an old farmhouse, but it was way out in the country. It was kind of over between, I lived in Perry, Oklahoma at the time, and it was kind of over by Enid. It was between Perry and Enid, out in the middle of the country. And we went out there one night, and, there was people in the house, and there wasn't supposed to be anybody there. We had permission to actually go to this place, and come to find out, there was devil worshippers there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they had pentagram in there, and they were burning stuff, and we sat outside and listened for a while, and you could hear them doing these chants and stuff, and we scared them, and but one of them started firing a gun at us, and of course it was dark. They didn't know where we were. They missed us by a mile, but still, I knew that they had a gun, so we got out of there, and we came back 2 nights later, and they had ran off and left a book, and I realized what it was, and after we picked it up, it was the remnants. I don't know where the other part of the book was, but you could tell it had been ripped in half or something, but it was the Satanic Bible. And so we ended up, we took it off property, and I actually took it to a church and asked him what we should do with it, and he told me he would dispose of it properly. I don't know what they did with it. I have no idea. I just know I didn't want nothing to do with it. And but we went back out there a couple days later, and man, this house, I don't really know what happened. I know that there was a few people that had died in this house, but they were all like old age people. Wasn't no traumatic deaths or nothing like that, so I'm not really sure what happened, but other than the fact that maybe these satanic people that was doing crap out there maybe conjured something, I don't know. But there was, the top floor had these boxes that had papers in them, and I just remember we walked into this room and we were asking questions and recording on our recorder, and all of a sudden, I mean, there's absolutely no wind out. most of the windows had windows, but there was a couple upstairs that didn't. But this particular room, it only had one window, but there was no wind out. It was hot. I just remember we were sweating our butts off, and we walked in the room, we shut the door, we get really quiet, we start asking questions, and then we hear footsteps. And, of course, you know, I kind of freaked out a little bit. Had never, ever encountered that, and I knew that me and him were the only ones there. But my freak out wasn't ghost, it was thinking these people are back. And so I waited till the footsteps got right to where the door was, where we had just shut it, and I opened it up, and there's nobody there. And I turned around, and I guarantee you I was probably pale. I was like, I probably sound like Aaron Godwin from Ghost Adventures. I don't know if you guys ever watch him or not. Zach and Aaron, whatever. But anyway, I turned around, I just looked, I go, dude. And he goes, and he said some words I won't repeat on here, but he's like, those footsteps stopped right there. And I said, they stopped right there. And there's nobody there. And about that time, we're standing by the staircase by this open door, and these papers blow out of the boxes.
No.
And me and him, I guarantee you, I ran him over twice getting out of the house.
I would be right there with you. Ain't no shame.
Yeah, and funny. I mean, I'm a big dude. I'm a heavy set guy. He's a little bitty guy, so I felt really bad for him. He lost 40 pounds that night from squishing. But there was no way. I was like, you know, the old saying, all I have to do is beat you to the truck. They can have you. But that was really our first. That's our first big paranormal encounter. And even as scared as we were sitting in the truck, and he's like, after the freak out, after the big rush of adrenaline calmed down, we were like, that was so cool. We have got to experience that again. And so we just kept doing it. And, man, the better technology got, the less freaked out I became, and more I realized that sometimes they actually try to communicate with you. You ask questions, they'll intelligently answer them. Sometimes they're residual, you know, like what they call residual hauntings, and stuff that happens over and over every day, like time repeats itself. I think a big one that you would consider that I've heard, one of my bucket list places to go would be Gettysburg. I've heard out on the battlefield about every night, about the same time, you can hear cannons, and you can hear, it's like time repeating itself. I'd like to really experience that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
But I've not to jump forward too much, but you know, I had talked to you, Lauren, about and Dustin both. I really, you know, I can tell you the whole story. A buddy of mine told me, but I really want to go to Parallel Forest.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a friend that back in 2009, he was out there, and he had told me about, he had watched these two great big orbs. They were huge. He said, like, bigger than a basketball, but they weren't like so bright that they were kind of dim, but they did emit a small amount of light that it illuminated like leaves and stuff, the tree as it passed through.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time he'd get out of his truck, he would go up there, he'd sit out there and wait, and they'd show up. And every time he'd walk up to them, they'd just disappear. And so one night he decided, this weekend, I'm going to get the jump on them, and I'm going to go out there during the day, and I'm going to set up with my night vision and all that stuff, and I'm just going to sit in there, and I'm going to wait on them. And so that's what he did. And, well, I don't know if you guys have done any research or read, but he had heard it too, that there was practices going on, like, say, cults and Satanist stuff.
Yeah, isn't there supposed to be an altar somewhere in the middle of it?
There is actually a couple, from my understanding. And if you go online and look, you can see they actually have pictures of where somebody's taking pictures of them. But this particular night, he's just sitting in there. He's sitting on the ground under a tree, just waiting. And it gets dark, and he's waiting for the lights. He's wanting to see if they'll come on. And all of a sudden, headlights show up. Well, it is a cult. It is a Satanist group, or whatever you want to call them. These people show up, and he said just from what he could see, there was at least 8 to 10 people, and they're quite a ways away from him. This is like, I think Parallel Forest runs about 17 acres, I think, and he's at one of the corners, and they're at a different corner, I guess. So they're a long way off, but he sneaks over. He got his night vision on. He could see them all running around over. Some of them's got robes on, but he hears a really horrible noise, and he said it just sounded like somebody got murdered. And he freaked out, and he said, I started to run and then to go call 911, but I decided to wait, and it lasted about 2 hours. These people left, and he waited till the coast was clear. He walks over, there's a pentagram, and they had put candles on the corners of this pentagram. And they were still kind of smoldering or whatever, but he said, Danny, what I saw made me sick. And I said, what was it? And he said, they had staked a dog down to the middle of this pentagram. I said, a dog? And he said, a dog, and it was still alive. And I was like, what? I was like, so what'd you do? And he said, I did what any normal, humane person would do. This dog was in trouble. I mean, it was staked right to the center of it, on its side. And he went back to his truck, and he got his .38, and he came back, and he shot it. And he said, then I unstaked him, and I picked him up, and I took him over by my pickup, and took him out in the middle of a field, and I dug a hole, and I made a little cross, and I buried him. And I was like, why would they do that? And he said, which I think we already know that people are freaking weirdos. I mean, I don't know what. Yeah. But it was right after that. I don't know if it was that did it, but sometime right after that, I think they stopped letting people go in after dark. But I did make a few phone calls. I haven't gotten in touch with anybody yet, but I'm trying to get a clearance for one weekend to go do a dual Bigfoot ghost hunt investigation.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that would.
Because, man, I've heard there's activity galore of Bigfoot and the paranormal, so I don't even know. I don't know why, unless it's like Native American related, maybe, or it's like a curse or something. I don't know. I've heard just walking through it kind of disorients you. Yeah, I can see, but and I can see why. Have you ever seen like pictures of? I've never been there. I know that my buddy Mike, he told me that it does kind of disorient because all the trees are planted 6 by 6, 6 foot wide by 6 foot wide by 6 foot wide.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and in the middle of summer, the canopy is really thick. And so, while you're walking, you think you're trying to remember where you were, but you can't because it all looks the same. So, I mean, but only 17 acres. It ain't like you can't figure out where you're at. So, but yeah, I've had my big one. I think my big bucket list item that I checked off a few years ago was able to go to. I went to Louisville, Kentucky, and I got to go with a group, and we went to the Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Ooh, that's
That
a
is
bucket
awesome.
list for me.
Yeah, and I got to stay the whole weekend. When I say a whole weekend, we stayed. We went Friday. We didn't stay the Friday night. We went till about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then we left. And then we got to actually stay. We stayed all night Saturday night, and left Sunday morning. And even if you don't ghost hunt, if you get a chance to go there and just take the tour,
Yeah.
the tour is freaking fantastic. The historical value that you learn is pretty amazing. Just the sheer number of people that died there and how they died. They have a drain room. Where they used to. Just from my understanding, of course, back then they didn't really know that much. They didn't know anything about TB, tuberculosis. So, and for those of the people that don't know, it's a huge, used to be a hotel, I believe. But they turned it into a tuberculosis hospital, and I don't remember the actual number. It seemed like for some reason I keep getting this number I was like between 50 and 60,000 died in there, that hospital, I think.
Man.
I could be way off, but I think I'm right. I think that's what it was. But I do remember them telling us like their lungs would get in such a horrible shape that they would start removing ribs and to give the lungs room to swell so they could breathe. They lost their ability to regulate body temperature, and so the wintertime they just shove them outside, and a lot of them would end up with frostbite, but they felt normal. And I know that the first night we didn't really have much activity. The second night, there's also an area. There's a chute. They have a drain room where they used to. They would actually drain the bodies, and then there's a chute they would put the bodies down, and they put them in like an old railroad type car, and they would take them down the tunnel. They call it the death tunnel. They take them down the tunnel, and they end up by the railroad track where they would stack them and toe tag them, and they would take them to their home, wherever they're from, I guess. But they would drain them because they thought the blood was like toxic or poisonous. They didn't. But like I said, after hearing all that, I'm like, man, that thing, and after hearing all the stuff about the place being haunted, the Friday night we didn't really have anything happen. Saturday night, whole different story. One in particular, there was a ball in there, and I had set it probably 3 feet shy of the staircase, And one of the things in there they tell you is that the kids, there was kids that, just like mom and dads and everybody else that died there, and the kids like kicking the ball around. So Friday night we tried it, nothing. Saturday I set it up there, and we had a night vision camera set up with a dual, it was a dual IR flood lamps. So it was just flood the area with IR and really bright. And so I set the ball down and I said, if any of you kids are in here, I sure would like to play ball with you. Can you kick this ball to me? Well, I waited around for a while and nothing happened. So we pick up little handheld cameras and we take off walking. And all of a sudden I hear this noise, and we had walked downstairs. I'd walked down the stairs to the floor below, and I see that ball come rolling by. And I thought, no way. I said, somebody's up there screwing with us. So we go back up there, and we instantly, right then, we take the camera loose. We go downstairs to where we have all of our TV screens and stuff set up. He turns it on, he backs it up, and he hits play, and that ball launches all by itself, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
And the cool part, back in the day I would have said creepy, but now the cool part to me was about 6 to 8 seconds after the ball, you can hear what sounds like a little boy giggle, and on audio. And then later on that evening was it's actually an instance that I'll probably never forget. I just remember it was my first real encounter with a FLIR camera. I had never really messed with one. I'd never really seen one. It showed me how it operated, and so me and this guy was together, and a friend of mine, and we were walking, and I said, so on this floor, what supposedly happens? And he said, on this floor, you supposedly see a lot of apparitions, a lot of people walking back and forth in the hallway. I believe it was loud bangs, loud knocks, stuff being manipulated, like objects being moved, stuff like that. So we walked up and down the hall, and we decided we walked down the hall, and we decided to come back and go room to room, and which, if you ever see Waverly Hills, it'll take you forever. It's so big, and there's so many rooms there. But we started walking back, and we got out in the hallway, and we heard this noise, and I can't really describe. They call them a creeper. It come from right to left, and it was black. It was a black mass, but it actually had a blue signature on, with my own eyes, because it was pretty lit that night. The moon was out. It was bright outside. I could physically, with my own eyes in the dark, I knew that something darker, because it was, like I said, there was a little bit of light shining through. I saw a black mass go from right to left, and I looked over and I said, what the hell was that? He said, dude, I don't know what, and his exact words to me was, it looked like, he said, you know what a sperm looks like in a petri dish? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, it looks just like that with legs and arms. And about that time, it comes running back, but it's on the ceiling. And I freaked out. And I don't know, I got goosebumps really bad. I had the chills. we all did. Everybody got really amped up.
Yeah.
We had one guy that got really angry, and we don't really know why. It was kind of weird. The whole there was 6 of us total there, and just the whole vibe got really creepy. Got really different. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I've never been in that situation before, and I've still never been there since.
Do you think he was just, like, you know how some people react to fear with anger? Do you think it was like that, or do you think it was something else?
I don't really know. I don't really know this guy. My friend lives in Cincinnati, and this was his part of his group, and it's the first time I'd ever met him.
Right.
So I didn't really know him. I didn't get the feeling. I hadn't seen him get angry about anything. He was a really happy-go-lucky guy. But you might be right. It may have scared him to the point where he got mad. But he was the only one, and as soon as we went outside, he kind of walked off by himself, and I seen him. He was kneeling. He was kind of knelt down on the ground, and I know me and Jim walked over and was like, "Are you okay?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll be fine. You guys need to just kind of give me some space. I need to figure out what it was I just saw." So it really got to him, and I'll admit it was creepy. It was freaking weird, and I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know. I don't know if that was what you would call a demon, or if that was just, I don't know. I don't know what it was. But I don't want to let that discourage anybody from going. It's really a cool place to go visit. It's really a cool place to go learn a lot about history.
Yeah. Man. I mean, it just sounds like, because it was already bucket list, but now it sounds like just even more. Like, that makes me want to go more.
Yeah. Yeah,
probably
actually,
not normal.
we're Laura Spriggs. She's the leader of our OutKast Paranormal. We're planning on. We have to have our money in by the end of December, but we're planning on trying to go back, or we're trying to go to Waverly Hills this next year. And so, yeah, I'm really ready to go back, because now the technology we have is, I mean, it's so far superior to what we had back then.
Yeah, that'll be, I mean, I'm hoping y'all get even more action this time, you know?
Yeah, but I really have, I really think that, I really hope that I can get the trip to Parallel, because I think it would be a really good time. I think we'll catch. Something tells me that we'll catch something. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm trying to think.
Yeah, that'd be a cool little trip down there.
I've got so many stories, I just don't know which ones to tell. But those are like my main. It's kind of hard to top Waverly Hills.
Yeah. But I mean, just the smaller ones. So have y'all, gone to, like, has somebody ever called you out to their house to research?
Oh yeah, me and Laura did one in Wacomas. I want to say it was April or May, June, somewhere in there. I can't remember. This guy said that the guy was telling us about how he had the orbs were horrible in his house, and he was ready for him to go away. They were creeping him out, whatever. Well, he sent video, and we looked at it, and it was clearly not orbs. It was clearly dog hair and tons of dust. And I mean, that's exactly what it was. It was just loads of dust, and you can see the dog hair and stuff like that in the video. And so we weren't really expecting much, and we get there, and the guy, he was a little different fella, but the wife was, let's just say, heavily intoxicated. And so we go in, and as soon as we enter the house, there's literally like hundreds of I can't think of the name of them, the Native American dream catchers. They're everywhere. And I looked at Laura, and she's like, "Why in the hell do they have that many dream catchers?" I'm like, "I have no idea." And but they're everywhere. So he shows a little video to us of this light that's coming from the door on the inside, and it's running down the side of this door at an angle, and it just stops. And I try to. It was weird. You just have to see it, but there's no way I couldn't recreate it. It was definitely something strange, and it did it for about 20 minutes and then it went away. And so we set up all of our stuff, and we immediately start setting up our cameras and what have you. And so I pull out my night vision camera, and I get it set up, and it'll actually run in, I can actually turn it, my night vision camera, it's made for ghost hunting, but it actually has a setting for, to go ultraviolet. And so I thought, well, I'm gonna run this thing in ultraviolet, see if I can pick up anything, maybe the ultraviolet spectrum, they say, can pick up many more wavelengths so why not? So I turned it on, and I had charged all 3 of my batteries, and I stuck it in there, turned it on, it read 100%, and I start filming, and I don't know, something happened. I don't remember what happened. I remember Laura asking me if I heard something. I said, yeah, I think I did hear that. And immediately my battery goes from 100% to 2%. It's in the red. Drained it instantly. And I thought, well, I got a bad battery. So I pop it out. I put my other battery in. I brought my charger. I asked them, can I plug it? Yeah, you can plug that in. So I plug it into their wall socket and start charging my battery. So I put my other battery in, and it's at 100%, and it ran for about maybe 10 minutes and died. And I'm like, no freaking way. And so I just threw that battery back in my bag, and I grabbed my next battery, and I stuck it in there, the last one I had, and luckily it stayed running, and we put it in the I put that camera in the kitchen, and looking all the way down their hallway into the back, and me and her, I grabbed a voice I have several voice recorders, and so I plug a set of earbuds in so I can listen real time. And I'm sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden, we actually hear a noise first, and then the couch moves. Now, I'm a big boy, and me and Laura both are on this couch, and the couch it moved. And I was like, what the hell? How in the hell did it move, the couch, with my big butt sitting on it? No way. And then we decided that was one instance, but we ended up catching like a ton of EVPs at this house. It's hopefully I can get Laura to maybe we can maybe private send them to you guys. I don't know if she wants to send post it on your guys' website or the Facebook page or whatever, but she's got a little clip that she condensed down of all these EVPs, and it's really awesome. They had this thing laying on the floor, and I said, "What is that?" He said, "Oh, it's a Christmas decoration. You plug it in, and it throws all these little green dots everywhere." I was like, you know what? I don't know if you guys ever watch any of the ghost hunting shows, but they always have the, I can't remember what they call it now, but they always have that laser grid.
Yeah.
So I turned this thing on, and it's like green dots everywhere. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see if we can make this a ghost hunting tool. And so I pointed up to the ceiling because me and Laura had been watching while we were sitting on the couch, and you could see with our own eyes, you could see white, almost a mist at one point, and then an orb shot across the ceiling. And so I thought, you know what, this green dots, this laser grid will break it up. You'll be able to see that stuff. And then we turned it on and clear. I mean, you could see orbs. You could see not just orbs, but you could see like a dark mass, small mass, but it was moving around up on the ceiling. And man, it was pretty. I mean, it didn't creep me out or nothing, but it was like, man, these people do have something here. But I mean, I'm kind of wondering now if maybe it was Native American or something. I mean, you got 450 dream catchers in this house.
Might have something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, that's kind of like you play with a Ouija board. At some point, I think you're going to experience something right now. I don't think you really want to mess with that kind of stuff, but yeah, we've done that place, and then you guys know Glenn down in Lexington?
Yep. Anomalous bookstore.
Yeah, the Anomalous Books and Brews. We're going to be there this Saturday. We're going to do we're going to investigate his shop, and then out behind, he was telling us that like back behind somewhere, behind the bookshop, years ago, used to be a hanging gallows. It used to be the gallows where they hang people. So I think there's been some people there that's caught stuff before, so I'm kind of anxious to go in there and do some investigating. I know me and Laura have been to Purcell, to the right before you get to the new bridge that crosses from Purcell to Lexington. There is on the left-hand side, or the north side of the street, there's a museum in Purcell. And we went and investigated. Yeah, it's actually really cool. It's got a lot of neat stuff in there.
It's pretty cool.
It's got like they're kind of themed rooms too. Like one room is like about the railroad. One room is about veterans and military, and it's like local people. And there's actually, I don't remember, Lauren have to tell you, I don't remember the story, but there's a guy, maybe it was the guy that used to live there or something, but they still have the people's bedrooms set up in there.
Well, I don't remember if it was ever proven or not, but there was a rumor going around Purcell that there's a few houses there that was near the railroad tracks up on the hill, and it's the bigger houses, and allegedly they have tunnels going underneath their houses, so that the tunnels would take them straight down to the railroad tracks so they could hop on the train and leave whenever they needed. But I don't know if that was ever proven true.
Man, that'd be interesting. That'd be cool to find out.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like it was probably done back in the Prohibition era.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's exactly what it was for during that time. Because there for a while, I believe Purcell and Lexington were dry towns for a while.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I do remember reading that. Yeah, if you ever get a chance to go, it's kind of a neat little museum if you're ever there. Me and her really enjoyed just walking through, looking at all the stuff. I mean, there's so much old stuff there. But there's a guy that used to be a writer for the newspaper, the Purcell newspaper, years ago. And it was actually a family friend of hers, the curator of this museum, or the lady that takes care of it. It was actually a really good family friend of theirs, and he was a writer for well, anyway, in the very corner back there, facing the road, he's got his office was in there, and he would go in there and write. Well, it's still set up, just like he had it, and he died back in the 80s. And I don't remember his name now. She told us about him anyway. So I'm sitting in there. Laura's sitting across the room from me, and I just remember looking out that big window, and I said his name. I said, "Hey, whatever." I was just kind of curious. Do you ever just sit here and look out this window and think about how everything's changed since you have passed or have passed away or died or whatever? And, I mean, things have changed a lot. And I said, do you ever just sit here and think about how things have changed? And clear as day on my recorder, you can hear, yes, I do. And I immediately stopped, rewound, took it back, and I told that lady, I said, I want you to listen to something. She's like, I don't want to listen. I said, no, it's not bad. It's just, I asked a question and somebody answered. And she goes, was it you or her? And I said, no, we didn't answer. Somebody else did. And she goes, I don't want to listen. And finally I got her to listen to it. And she didn't cry or anything, but you could see it in her face. I think she knew who it was. She never did tell me, but I could just see from the look on her face when I said his name, you know, do you ever think about how things have changed? And then, yes, I do. And I don't know what he sounded like, but like I said, you know, it was definitely, that was probably the clearest EVP I've ever had. It was Class A, what they call Class A EVP. It was just like I'm talking to you right now. Yes, I do. But I haven't really gotten to, you know, I work out at Tinker Air Force Base, so, I mean, they have me busy a lot, and I work a lot of weekends, so I haven't got to go with Laura and them as much as I'd like to, but we're starting to slow enough where I can take off and start going with them and doing stuff, so.
Speaking of Tinker, one place that I think it would be really cool to go, either paranormal and or Bigfoot, is right across from the runway, right across the 29th, where that old neighborhood used to be. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to basically move everybody out of this neighborhood because planes kept crashing into the neighborhood. So basically they moved everybody out, and just quarantined this whole neighborhood just in case planes crashed there. And it's grown up, and you can see parts of it if you go down certain streets. There's a 8-foot fence around the whole place, so you can go down certain streets and kind of see down the old roads, and it looks pretty creepy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That'd be I don't remember what city it was. There's a place here in Oklahoma. Is it Sulphur? What the name of that? There's a town that they just abandoned.
Oh, crap!
That's
That's
the
up
one
here
that's
by
on
us.
fire.
Yeah.
I think
right there.
I think that would be.
Oh, it starts with a P. But you're close, yeah. But I know a lot of people drive through there still. It's Pitcher, Oklahoma.
Pitcher, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. A friend of mine, or a coworker of mine, is actually from there.
I have a friend that is into paranormal stuff, and they actually went there and did some paranormal stuff, and they said they caught EVPs there, and I was like, really? And they said, yeah, and it's creepy because it's like, there used to be people that lived there, now they've all moved, and it's just it's like everybody packed up and left, and I'm like, huh. Yeah, I'd like to go there.
Be pretty cool.
But like I said, I'm just ready for all of us to get together, and I really want to go to Parallel. I really want to go see what we can find.
Yeah, we need to set it up. I mean, we'll schedule it. We'll set it up because I am down. I love that part of the state anyway. I think we had discussed that. I have actually, so I'm from that area, and I have, first of all, never heard of the parallel force, and I don't know how my mom, Lori, that was on the show, so she had texted me when she heard you say that, and she's like, why have we never heard of that? Because, we're both from there, and we've never heard of that, and it just blew our minds that it's a thing, and we don't know about it. And I've always wanted to go Bigfoot over there as well, and have never done that over there either. So yeah, let's get something scheduled, and we'll make it happen for sure, and then we'll report back to everyone listening.
Yeah, I've put out a few messages. I called up there and talked to a state park person, and she gave me some numbers to try to call, and so now it's just a matter of waiting. I got to wait and see if they'll call me back. If not, I got to figure out another avenue.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna, one way or another, I'm gonna make it happen.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It just sounds.
We're not.
Well, unless they tell me if I catch you out there, I'm gonna hold you at gunpoint, and then we may not want to do.
Well, if you could just go test the waters for us, and then report back, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I'm gonna take Dustin with me.
So yeah, that's fine. Yeah, do that.
Here at Night Callers, we do not condone illegal activity. We just condone that you don't get caught.
Oh, is that the rule? I did not read the fine print. Oops.
That's my rule. But
whoops. Nobody told me about that.
You guys should have sent that rule book to me before I got on the air.
Yeah, because he's pretty much just told everybody let's go do this thing. So, but yeah, I think that sounds awesome. I'm really excited to go do that, or hopefully go do that. And I had another question, and now I forgot. Let's see.
I've got a question.
Oh, well, of course you do.
So, what is the creepiest EVP that you've caught, or that you've heard that someone you know personally has gotten?
The creepiest EVP I've ever heard with my own ears is my friend Mike. He's one of the guys that told me about parallel force. I don't even know. I can't remember where he was at. It was in Texas somewhere, because he lives down close to the border of Texas in southwestern Oklahoma. But anyway, he was. I cannot remember the name of that stinking bridge. We were just talking about it at Glenn's at Anomalous the other day. I'll think of it about 5 minutes after we get done.
Never fails.
Anyway, there's a popular bridge. There's a bridge down there that's bad haunted. And to lead up to this, I'll tell you the story right quick.
Yep, perfect.
Him and his wife were at this bridge, and they've been wanting to go. And so he gets all of his stuff loaded up. They get up there to the bridge, and they're walking across the bridge, and you can clearly hear what sounds like a woman crying. And he has the audio. If I can get him to give it to me, if he'll allow me, I may see if I can get him to let me share it. It's creepy. I mean, super creepy. They're walking across the bridge. You can hear her crying. And so he's got a 1 million candle power. It's one of those rechargeable ones, that you can take with you. And he hits the button. He's looking under the bridge. He don't see nothing. And the crying gets louder, and it gets a little worse, actually. But his wife, she takes off running. She goes, "Come on, there's somebody in trouble." And so she thinks there's somebody, like, hurt or something down there. So she takes off running, and he starts taking off. But he's lugging all his crap with him because he's going to set up cameras and different stuff. And he leans over and hits the button on his spotlight again, and just can't really, the light's not on the girl, but you can clearly see something. And so he runs around the corner, and he shines it again, and I don't really remember the exact what he told me, but I just remember he said he could see her, and she's sitting against the wall underneath the bridge, backed up against the wall. She's got her knees pulled up, and she's got her arms wrapped around her knees, and she's rocking, and she's crying. And then he's like, "Crap, there's somebody in trouble." He said, immediately I thought, this is somebody, like a runaway. This is like a girl that's ran away and is scared. That's what he thought. So he just drops all of his equipment and takes off running, and he passes his wife. She's scared to death. She had stopped where there's a little path going around to go down underneath the bridge. She had stopped, and she's like, "I'm going to wait on you." Well, he passes her. He runs down the side of this thing, runs underneath the bridge, and the girl's gone. And he looks around, and he's like, well, she couldn't have got far, so they take off running, and she says, well, I'm going to stay right here. He goes, well, I'm going to go up, I'm going to run underneath the bridge here and follow it a little ways. She couldn't have got far. She's probably scared. And so he takes off running, and about that time, his wife hears giggling coming from behind her.
No.
And she turns around, and she said I turned around really slow, and there was nothing there. But when I turned back around, on the other side of the water, that little girl was standing over there and was just standing there, looking at her. And I said, "What did it look like?" She said, "Like a little girl." And I took off running towards where my husband was at. I was gonna go get him and had him come back. And I took off running. When I did, literally, she went and disappeared. And that's when they realized that there was something really bad going on, and he realized that whatever's there was probably not good. And then I start watching these different, ghost hunters and ghost adventures. They've all been to that bridge, and they've all had bad encounters. But, I know it's TV shows, so it could be made for TV. I don't know. But I know that their experience wasn't made for TV. It was real deal. She won't go back. He doesn't really want to go back unless he's got a group with him. I can't remember the name of that stupid bridge.
You'll remember the minute you hang up.
Yeah.
I have 2 kids. I have 2 daughters, but there is something about a child's laughter in the deep, dark woods that just does not sit well with me. I think I would rather hear a demonic voice saying, "Get out," than a little kid giggling in the middle of the woods at night.
Lori.
I think I had to look. It was killing me. I had to look it up. It was called the Maxdale Bridge, but it's in Killeen, Texas.
Okay, so we'll be going there.
There's another one that I have never been to it. He's never been to it, but it's supposedly lot more going on there than what there is at the Maxdale, and that's the Goatman Bridge. And you can look it up, and that's another one of those. Goatman Bridge is a bucket lister.
Oh, it just freaks me out.
It does, but it's kind of like Bigfoot. You're like, I know some people, they talk about, I've never seen one with my own eyes. I really want to. But I read and I hear like Sasquatch Chronicles and different places, coast to coast. People say, they talk about, I laid eyes on this thing. It was looking at me. I never want to see one again. Blah, blah, blah. That ain't me. If I saw one, I'd be like, dude, I need to see 5 more.
Yeah. We're all adrenaline junkies. That's just how it goes. So I did have a question from Lori, who is also listening in. She would like to know, have you ever been touched by
Yes.
entity? Yeah. Can you tell us about that real quick?
Yeah.
We have about 10 minutes left, so.
The same house that I told you guys at the very start that the papers blew out of the boxes. There's an old well pump shed out back, and it's also a it was huge. It had a staircase that went down. There was an old well down there, pump shed, but it was also like almost like a storm cellar or something. But anyway, we went down there, and I don't really remember. Jason, my buddy, my best friend, he's like, man, did you hear that? We heard the shuffling of feet, and so we open the door, we go into this little room, and I don't know, I just got this real creepy vibe. I was like, dude, there's something wrong with this place. Let's go. And he said, yeah, I've never been down here before. I said, I have never been down here before either because there's too much water. It's always flooded. And usually when it's flooded, you see like dead mice and crap floating around in it. So I'm like, I'm not getting in there. But this particular time, it was dry. But anyway, I was like, dude, it's like creepy. I don't even want to be in here. Let's go. So we turn around and we start walking out, and my back was burning. And I told him, I was like, dude, I think I scraped up against something. I said, I think I cut myself. And he said, he turned his flashlight on and turned around and looked, and he goes, what would you cut yourself on? There's nothing down here. It's all concrete. There's no nails. There's no nothing. And so he starts running his hand down like stuff to see if maybe there was like something sticking out of the concrete that would catch me. And then there was nothing where we had been. And anyway, we get out. We get out of there, and we go out to my pickup, and I take my shirt off, and he had told me to turn around. I turn around, and right down the center of my back, I mean, running the length of my spine, you know, like long-wise, about 3.5 inches long, there's 3 scratch marks. And they're bleeding, just barely. But that's the only time I've ever had anything ever happen to me like that. Like, I've never been touched, pushed. But that particular time, like I said, you know, you could feel it. You could feel the creepy. Like, you could almost feel like that you're not wanted here feeling.
Yeah.
That's what, you know.
Like you need to go.
Yeah, we both got that feeling at the same time. And so Jason's like, I don't know what it means, man, but I don't feel like we're supposed to be here. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of creepy. Let's go. So, I mean, immediately I turned around and then bang. But, you know, this is back in 1990. So, you know, our technology was nothing. I had a Walkman with that I was recording with on a tape deck. So yeah. So with today's stuff, you know, I'd had an EM meter. You know, we have, you know, Laura's got a few gadgets we take with us, and you know, it's just the technology we have today. You have the ability to detect stuff like back then, and all you have is your intuition. So anyway,
do y'all have one of those? I think they're called ghost boxes. I've heard of them. I haven't seen one go through where it like scans radio stations and it picks up the words.
Oh yeah, like the SB7 Spirit Box.
Spirit box.
No, I don't have one. Man, I blew all my money on Bigfoot equipment.
You know, as broke as I am after my Bigfoot stuff that I have on my Amazon wish list, I cannot even imagine having 2 hobbies like that.
Yeah.
I can't.
No,
I can't imagine.
The one thing that it is on, but you know, there is a app. I don't remember the name of the one that Laura has. It's on her phone. There is an app, and it is a spirit box type thing, and we actually used it at the Wacoma's house. And it scans through radio stations. And believe it or not, we were asking questions, and it did at first. It wasn't really doing much, and we got back to it was the back bathroom, right by the washer and dryer, and we started asking questions, and we were getting responses to the questions. Now, was it coincidence? Maybe, but it was kind of odd that it was like direct answers to questions. So there is an app you can use, but
there's an app for that.
I'd really like that. There is an app for that.
Well, I've heard a couple of recordings where somebody has used one, and the way it answers back with different voices, because it's constantly going through this channels is pretty creepy. Just the way the voices sound, being all mixed together.
You're in a freaking building and you go, is there anybody here with us? And you hear, yes. I mean, out of the blue, and then, well, how many people, how many spirits are here with us tonight? And you hear, it may take a minute, and then all of a sudden you hear 5. I mean, how is that coincidence? I don't believe it is. That you're getting direct response to a question. But my opinion is I don't think that kind of stuff happens very often. I think a lot of that stuff you see on TV is just that, made for TV.
Yeah.
But for what it's worth, I mean, I'd really like to have one. I'd really like to have. Now I can't think of the name of it now. They've got a gadget that's got it's a laser grid, and it's also a Xbox Kinect with a software that renders movement. I don't know if you've ever seen them before.
Is it like how you were saying that Christmas deal where it shines all the dots on the wall?
It does. It actually puts a huge laser grid on the wall in front of you wherever you're walking. It's a handheld deal. It's got a little handle, and it throws a laser grid out. But it also has an Xbox Kinect. Like you can do all the. It's kind of like the Nintendo Wii. Remember, how you can bowl with it. It knows your movements from your hand. Well, anyway, it uses the Kinect software and renders. It can tell if there's something in front of you moving. It'll actually pick it up, and it'll basically, it looks like a little skeleton moving around. And it's pretty freaking weird. I want to say it's called the SLS or something like that. I really want one of those for about $300 and some. That spirit box is about $120 or $40. I mean,
Laura said she uses EchoVox. Sorry, Laura said she uses EchoVox, the app.
EchoVox, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm sure Saturday we'll probably have the app for that out and running.
Well, we are officially out of time.
All righty.
All right.
Well, thank you guys
really
very
appreciate.
much for.
Oh no, thank you for coming on. I have enjoyed this so much. I mean, so Bigfoot. I mean, obviously, it's something I'm very interested in.
Yeah, like I said, I appreciate you guys having me on, and I am really looking forward to meeting both of you, especially Dustin, since he's like my neighbor over here.
Yeah, I'm just down the road a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will
we really
definitely keep in
appreciate
contact with you guys.
For sure. I think Lauren might have gotten kicked off. I don't hear her. Yep, she got booted. All right, so we're gonna close. We're gonna close out, and we really appreciate you coming on. And let me know how this weekend goes at in Lexington, and we'll get you on for a follow-up maybe in the future.
Sounds good. You guys take care, and you be careful this weekend and have a good time.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
And good night, everyone, and we will see y'all next week.
Thank you for listening to Night Bigfoot Radio.